Max Dowman's been in the headlines again for the right reasons. He recently represented England under 17s at the Euros, got a goal and assist against the Czech Republic on Monday, although England still got knocked out. And that came after he had a phenomenal end to the season for Arsenal. I think something like 14 goals in his last 7 games in the under 18 Premier League. Just absolutely ridiculous numbers. I mean, just first of all, how exciting is his development to witness, Max Dowman?
Very exciting. Though. We've got to remember he's only 15, though, and I'm always a bit reluctant to talk too much about him. But I think because he's so high profile now, and the fact Mikel Arteta is talking about him an awful lot, it makes it easier for us to really discuss him without having to worry too much about his age, because he is just not your normal 15-year-old. That's so evidently clear from when you see him. And like you said, in that game against the Czech Republic, his highlights reel in that game. It's honestly like you're watching Messi, which is, again, it's not something I should be throwing around because that's too much pressure on a 15-year-old kid. But his ability to run with the ball and run away from defenders, they just can't get near him once he gets going. He's the way he can turn, the sort of touch around the corner, and then he's just off, and you just can't stop him. And he just creates so many chances for himself and his teammates. He's a hell of a talent. And I know it's disappointing. He'll be disappointed. And Jack Porter, you mentioned earlier, was in goal for that as well. So he'll be disappointed that England have gone out. I think it might be a bit of a boost for Max Dowman long term, though, because he's going to have a very busy pre-season. And he's played a lot of football recently as well. And this will give him the opportunity now to have a proper little rest before the summer, because this is a big summer for Max Dowman. This is a summer where he's going to get his chance in pre-season. He's going to go on the tour. He's going to get he's going to be able to play for the first team domestically if Mikel decides that he wants to play him. That wasn't an option last summer. He couldn't do it, but he can now. So if he can have a really strong summer this summer, then he's going to push himself into the reckoning for the first team, which is a remarkable thing to say for a kid so young. So I think having a little break now will do him good before that summer. But yeah, he's an unbelievable talent. It's just really hard not to be excited when you watch him play and you watch his ability and how much better he looks than absolutely everyone else on every pitch that he plays on. He's a remarkable talent.
He is, yeah, and that ties in perfectly with my next question. I was going to say how England going out early would help Arsenal and Arteta in the summer when it comes to Max Dowman. Of course, Arteta said that he will be involved in pre-season. Like you say, he'll get quite a few minutes over the summer you'd expect.
Mm.
His long-term future is, of course, still a bit up in the air. He can't sign a professional deal until his 17th birthday next December, about 15, 16 months' time. And you've said in the past how Arsenal just need to show that the pathway is there for these young players. They've shown it this season with Waneri and Lewis Skelly. From what you're seeing, how what they're doing with Max Dowman's development, are they doing everything right to show him that this is the place to be, the pathway to the first team is here for you?
Yeah, well, I don't think they can really be doing any more than what they are doing. He's basically been part of the first team for the last 6 months anyway, in terms of training and what he does with them every single day. Um, Mikel's talking him up publicly in press conferences, stuff like that. They're taking him on a tour. Like you said, it seems crazy to say in like 15, 16 months' time will be his 17th birthday. He's that young still that, you're that far off being 17. And yet we're talking about him as, a first team player for Arsenal, which is just absolutely mad. It's unprecedented. So they can't be doing any more than they are to show that the pathway is there and that they are keeping that pathway in mind in terms of everything they're doing in the club. So hopefully that will be enough, because it's going to be a nervy 15 months or whatever it is until he turns 17, because there's actually very little more that you can do. But if he decides to go somewhere else and someone else gets in his ear, and then you just can't really do anything about it. So hopefully it's enough. I think every Arsenal fan will be desperate that it's enough. And yeah, they definitely can't be doing any more.